Captain, you ready?
We can make it if we try.
Captain.
What the? I guess I'm the captain now. Proceed.
What is going on, everybody out there in podcast land?
What is up?
Hello, my darlings.
Howdy, everybody. Welcome back. Well, a little unexpected break, but thanks for bearing with us, everyone.
Life
In the
happens.
week we were off.
Hey,
It
chat.
does.
How you guys doing
It
tonight?
does. Yeah, let's shout some people out. G3, you want to do the honors tonight?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I can barely read this. I don't have my glasses on. All right, let's see. We got Grateful Gardener. We got the Smoke Ring. Chris Bright. I Stig. What up, though, Grow? Yep. Everybody's here.
Matt Frat,
Frat,
Mikey, 2x2
always,
Tony,
2x2
man.
Tony.
we got a guy named 2x2
game.
Tony. I love that.
It's
Tony
fun.
don't mess around. No, he certainly doesn't. But yeah, guys, welcome back, everybody. We are in the midst of a grow along. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, well, shit. I'm like getting way ahead of myself here. We got to
Yeah,
do
you
the.
are.
I want to talk so much about my garden. I got plants going. Shit's happening. But first, I see Monster having. He's already coughing. What do you got going on, man? What did you just like?
Anaphylaxis? Is it anaphylaxis?
No, this is George's root beer mixed with a little bit of pure Michigan live resin.
Ooh, got right on top of you.
Delicious. Shout out to BGG. He just had a little drop of that, I saw.
Yep, that's what I'm smoking tonight too. Whoever got that, you
Wow.
guys are you're in for something special. She is super unique.
Yeah, really. I mean, not that it's not good smoke. It is good smoke, but that's like the best thing I could say about it is that it's unique. You don't come across anything unique
Yeah.
in cannabis much anymore. It
She's
all has
delicious
some.
too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I think they all have everything has some sort of familiarity to it. Like you, like, oh, I've come across this before. Maybe I can't quite put my finger on it, but with the George's root beer, I've never had a terpene profile like that before, so it's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, she's special.
That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I like to kind of live by, the sayings, is just do it differently or not at all, right?
Cheers.
The world doesn't need more of the same old, right?
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Do it differently or don't do it at all. It's just kind of usually works out. But yeah, cheers to BGG for having a little successful drop at that. And,
Yeah,
fuck
he had a
yourself.
whole bunch of things. I think
yeah.
I might be speaking out, but he said this was like a small release, so he might be doing another release of it in the future, which I hope so, because I couldn't get any this time. And
I heard there was a small release at his honeymoon too.
ouch.
Ooh, yeah, that's sick burn right there. Good Lord.
He knows I love him. He'll get a good laugh out of that. I don't know if his wife will, but I know he will.
He'll definitely get a good laugh. I got a little. I don't know if I told you guys. I found. Well, I had a tub in my basement that I discovered that of like half of a plant of that black lung number 2 that I didn't even know was down there still. So like trim that up. Got
You know how
2
many people are
jars.
like
I love
shaking
you
their
just
heads
like
right now?
find things
Yeah.
in your. You got to start drawing yourself treasure maps or something, man. Like you just
know.
discover buried treasure in your basement.
Just casually
You
come
know,
across
Pirate
it.
captain, you are.
Yeah, that's
Totally.
literally what it was. Like I went diving for buried treasure. Like my stash was really dwindling, and I vaguely remembered, like, I didn't finish trimming a plant, and I'm like, I have a lot of bins in the basement, just like, there's Christmas ornaments in one, there's Halloween decorations in another, and there's half of a marijuana plant in the other, right next to those. And I, just had to root through them a little bit. But I must say, it's a little dry, as one would expect, but not more than, like, 55% in the jar, 53%. Not ideal, but, like, it's still super terpy. And got a little cone tonight. Did not roll it myself. It's a cone, I packed it myself.
Let's see if you can light it yourself.
I think I've mentioned this one before, being the more, like, lavender based of the two terp profiles. A little more floral. Just, it's still, like, super umami is the primary thing that I'm getting, and then there's this, like, hint of floral, which kind of really sets it off. It's nice.
Fucking nice.
That linalool.
Yes, definitely got a lot of linalool. Say that 5 times fast. But yeah, I'm gonna try to not have this boat to shit on me.
Oh my gosh.
Is that
Okay,
what everyone?
What makes them boat?
You pack them
Is
too
it
tight,
you're packing
and
them too tight, or you're
and the
pulling
way
too hard?
and the way you draw on it definitely affects it too. But it more so it's
Agreed.
the way you pack them. It's too tight or too loose can actually cause similar results, but I feel like too tight is more of a uh, of a problem.
Maybe
Agreed.
it's like a texture thing with me, or certain certain strains. I will find I have real problems with them boating, and other ones I have none.
Well,
It's very
a lot
odd
that
sometimes.
that might be consistency of the grind
Mhm.
and the dryness of the herb too.
Yeah, that's what I was
Like
thinking.
if it's really dry, it'll boat uh, pretty easily. There's a lot of
Do you
factors
find that
involved.
you get like different highs from joints versus bongs versus
Oh,
I
definitely.
get
bowls?
I get way higher off the bong. It's not even close. Um, but the thing that the joint is really good for is you're getting really good consistent flavor with each draw. Yeah, it does change a little bit, but the bong, it's really hard to pack that like perfect bong hit where you're not like, because I feel like, right, if you pack just enough for like that one hit, you're still getting that kind of like ashy hit at the end. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
if you pack too much, then it's like a waste. That
Yeah.
second hit that you take is kind of meh.
Oh, I never take
Um,
that second hit if I don't
yeah,
finish it in one.
yeah. So it's like
Knob.
I these days I've been more and more like on the joint, kind of on a joint kick for the last couple months personally.
Hmm.
You
I
know
find
the
it's really easy to regulate how much I'm taking into my body versus like a bong. Sometimes my eyes are bigger than my lungs are.
Mm.
well, I mean, no matter what, I'm gonna finish the joint. I feel like bongs, you can be a little bit more precise with dosage and stuff like that, but the reason I'm smoking the joint tonight is I've been coughing a lot lately. I don't know if it's the lack of humidity in the air, just wintertime. Like, I
Nah,
take
dude,
a
I've been
big bong
experiencing the
rip
same shit.
and
I
I'm
thought
like,
I
I
was alone.
cough so much.
Oh
I
God,
thought
you
I was
guys know
all
me.
alone.
I've been coughing for months. Do you
Yeah.
guys use like the Moose Labs mouthpieces?
Who?
What's that?
Talking about? Okay.
No, huh?
These are absolutely freaking brilliant, and I highly recommend to everybody, especially if your lungs are kind of screaming at you, or if you're coughing a lot, or if your throat is hurting you. There's a company called Moose Labs, and they make a variety of different filter holders called mouthpieces. And they make one that kind of looks like a funnel for bongs. And they have a smaller one for joints. They have ones that are mini for bowls. So whatever your apparatus is, they have a different They're silicone, and they hold these small filters. And you can
Okay.
actually see when you're pulling through how much junk gets caught on those filters, like stuff that would be going into your lungs otherwise. And I find that
Interesting.
there's a huge difference in my lung happiness and lung health when I'm using one versus when I'm not. Now, one filter can last you like a day to 2 to 3 sometimes. It really depends on you, but you can go through them quickly, and that is the one real downside of them, is that you kind of have to change out your filters, and they can be kind of expensive. So there must be a DIY version to create filters for you or something. But I highly recommend the product. They're
All
awesome.
right. Moose Labs.
Moose Labs. Yep,
Are
the
the
mouth.
same
Cool.
guys are
I'm
responsible
looking at
for
it
the
right
moose
now.
knuckle. No?
Oh Lord.
Mine is actually really helpful in that it glows in the dark as well. So, like when I'm watching a movie or
Nice.
something and I
The-
want to have my bong, I'm not going to knock it over, which is something I used to do all the time because I'm
the-
clumsy as fuck. So, just being able to see where it is, I can grab it really easily and
That's
use
cool.
it. So, yeah, check them out. We're not like
Filters on my
I'm not
bongs.
affiliated or anything with them
No, no.
like that.
Yeah,
I
it's
just really like them.
you use it. It works
Yeah.
for you. Well,
Yeah.
you know, I may have to try it. I am pained to say though that like in my 4th decade on this planet now, I just might not be cut out for the 18-inch bongs like every night. You know, it's just not like it used to be. I can't just. I remember it used to take like those 4-foot bongs at my friend's house in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've actually never been a big bong guy. I kind of
Oh.
like I, they're more for show than anything else. It's like if you gotta suck on the thing, like you're trying to get a raise from your boss. I don't like that. I like a nice little small little 1.5
Mhm.
footer little beaker bong. Fucking, I'm good
Right.
to
And
go.
the less air you have, the more flavor you're going to get.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
That's
yeah, so I'm
true.
in the same boat now. I
Well,
have this giant one upstairs. I just don't ever use it.
I got a
Sits
giant
there
one
looking
too
pretty.
that I acquired. Um, didn't cost me anything, so I just kind of took it on. But I don't like it at all. I just use my regular one. That's it. Good to go.
yeah, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better when it comes to bongs,
No,
for
Yeah,
sure.
I
and
think smaller is better, actually.
I'd say the same thing about joints. I mean, there gets to a point
Yeah.
there where, yeah, where it's just so big, it's just the flavor just isn't quite what you'd want it to be. But that's just me.
Oh, I definitely agree. Dog walkers for the win.
Yeah, those little ones are sweet
I
for
love
sure.
them. What are they, like 70/30s or something like that? They're excellent.
I know
Perfect size.
Howling likes those little
Mhm.
ones. Yeah.
Yep, we're the same mindset.
Well, yeah, this is good stuff, man. I gotta give it up to the Romulan genetics breeder of my last harvest. Pretty much the whole tent. Well, yeah, the whole tent. Impressed with the quality, flavor, potency is all there. So good stuff. Need feminized seeds. Check him out among some others.
Speaking of which, how are your mamas doing?
I'm glad you asked. I have an arrow cloner now, which is awesome. And after setting that thing up and getting her rolling, I took 6 cuttings. It's been, what is it now, Tuesday? So it's been 12 days since I took the cuts. And I am pleased to report that all 6 are showing, like, they're the beginning stages of roots. They're not like reaching down.
Yeah, they look like
into the
little
reservoir yet.
warts. You'll see like
Yeah,
little warts
yeah.
on the yeah.
They
Sweet.
look very, very strange, actually. Like,
Yeah.
but,
awesome.
yeah, little warts is
Great.
kind of
Yeah.
a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Congrats.
That's how I try to
So,
describe
yeah.
it to people. Is it rooted? Because that's the first thing. Because you don't have that advantage with a clone dome and cubes, right? I mean, I do not try pulling your clones out of the cubes to see please don't. But
You're
with
just gonna
the
rip the roots off.
yeah, exactly. With the arrow cloner, you get the advantage of actually being able to look. So that's the best way to
Yeah,
describe it, in my opinion.
it is sweet. Like in the little pucks, like little styrofoam pucks, and the thing, it has like it's just a regular water pump,
Mhm.
and into like a manifold that has sprayers, like what would you call them, like
Emitters and then
atomizers. So it comes out as like a mist,
yep.
almost. But when you take the little pucks out to look at the roots, you're gonna get all that water right in your
Yeah,
face, no matter
yeah.
what.
Well, you kind of have to do that daily with those things just to make sure
Yeah,
everything's going smooth. It's always you're always going to get wet a little bit every day
for
fucking
sure.
with those things.
Well, so like I think at first, because they were looking a little worse for wear. Like the first couple days, I was very worried that I wasn't doing this the right way, or that like something was wrong. And I'm pretty sure the thing that was wrong was my light level in the tent. Like the
Too much light.
oh yeah, even halfway up on the dial, that light is very powerful. And measured it with again, got to give a shout out to that iPhone app, Photone. What a cool tool, honestly, and it's super accurate from what I've seen. Other people like use tests and stuff. So download Photone, and you got to pay like I think it's $6 to use the LED feature. But then you're able to use it as kind of like a PPFD meter. Get it right at the canopy level of where you want to like read your plants. Oh yeah, first you got to use a what do they call it, like a diffuser.
Mm-hmm.
So you can use just a piece of paper. It doesn't have to be anything special, but they do have like special diffusers for like $20. I think you just clip on, never have to worry about. Pretty cool. In any case, like the light level on my clones was about 500 ppfd. That's way too much.
Way too much.
Yeah, way too much. Even like way down at the bottom of the tent, with the light about halfway up. So I turned that bitch all the way down to like 125.
Top of the tent, 1%.
Yeah, almost.
They don't need much. If we let's see, if we shut this off, you can see over my shoulder this little dome here. See that?
Yeah,
There.
over your
Mhm.
left
Yeah.
shoulder.
Yeah, that's all I have for light for those clones, and they'll be just fine. And the less light, the better, in my opinion. You're really just trying to keep them awake, and not go to sleep. The lighting is the least important thing when it comes to clones. So this little look, I have.
Unless you're
I'll
giving
go
them too much, then they're gonna suffer. I mean, mine started to get a little yellow
I
and
did
like
that,
droopy.
yeah. Ugh.
But you keep the light on 24 hours a day, or do you have
Yeah.
them on a cycle?
No, I just keep it on.
All right.
Fine. Just keep it on
Cool.
24 hours a day. Yep. And I got a little heating pad under there so it stays warm because it can get a little chilly up there. Yeah.
Word. Well, yeah, I'm probably going to be transplanting. Not going to need all 6, so I got plans for 2. In 2 Autopot XL pots, the plastic ones, in a 3x3 tent.
Yep.
Gonna scrog it out and just fill it up.
You have a Rom Scotty and a black lung. That's all you're
Nope,
keeping.
just both Rom Scotties.
Just Rom Scotties?
Rom
Okay.
Scotties. Yeah. The number 1, numero uno, which I am down to my last couple nugs of, and I am trying to savor that shit. I gotta say, like, yeah, this the cloning took a little longer than expected. Like the first
Some
time I tried to
strains
do this didn't work.
Some strains take longer too. Yeah, well, you figured out the second time around your light was too high.
Yeah, she just might not be an easy cloner either. I'm not really sure.
Some strains take longer. It's definitely a factor. I've had some root as quick as 6 days. I've had others take close to 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm getting up to that 2 week point, and I was like, I just started to see those little warts on them, and I
If you
feel
have
like
really
it's
really
all
low
going well.
ambient humidity in the room, that can be a factor too.
You
Um,
know, like in the instructions for the aero cloner too, like it mentioned, oh, you don't need a clone dome.
no,
You
you
don't
don't.
need a clone dome.
You
But
don't. But you
I
need.
feel like I could definitely benefit from one, especially like winter time up in the tent. I don't have a humidity or a humidifier in that one,
You really don't
so
even need a dome for a cloning if you want to clone with cubes, as long as the ambient humidity in the room is sufficient.
well, what's
Uh,
sufficient?
65, seventy
All
percent
right, yeah. See, I wasn't even at like 50% in
Yeah.
the tent, so they,
A lot of
probably could have
times
benefited from a
in
dome.
a lot of times in like your bedroom, you can just throw the whatever the in there and it would be good. But like if you're growing in tents, it's a little different because you have those microclimates within the tents.
It's
So
basically like seedlings. You're taking a full-grown plant and you're turning it back into a seedling.
yeah, I'd like to think of it even if you break it down even more, it's like um, you're performing surgery. You know what I mean? Like you've
Yeah,
cut off a branch of this plant and you're trying to get it to survive. Like its survival instincts are kicking in. Like shit, if I don't throw some roots down, I'm fucking dead. So I even saying that though, I don't want people to think that it's that complicated because it really isn't. I the number one reason people won't do things is fear of failure, and that's across the board. That's whether with cannabis or anything. Don't be afraid to fail. Just do it. Like, what do you have to lose? You know?
that's true. But
Pride.
well, pride, a little bit of pride,
I
but
trust me. The pride, the
How you learn
ego
though.
hit, you'll get way more fucking lack of pride from sitting there thinking about it like a little bitch. Just fucking, you know what I mean? Oh
just
man,
just man up and
yeah,
do it.
yeah, just fucking
But
do it.
yeah, what you could lose is genetics that you're trying to hang on to. If you really mess up. Now, if you're a beginner to the whole thing, like myself, right, and wasn't sure if this new method of cloning you were trying was even really going to work as intended. Obviously, I kept the mother plant. You know what I mean? She's still hanging out.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that. Look, those clones I was showing you, right? I have a plant sitting here. I gotta put somewhere. I'm not gonna kill it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
I would never get rid of the mother until I
no
like have fully
roots.
rooted,
Yeah,
established
no,
plants that I
shit
could then
happens.
take more cuts of.
Yeah, exactly. Shit happens.
Have a backup to a backup to a
I've
backup.
lost cuts from not being prepared. So don't be me.
What do they say? One is none, two is one.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know
Not
where
a,
they
You
say
gotta
that. They
need a
say
new
it
mom
somewhere.
before you can get rid of the mom.
yep.
For sure. For sure. Especially, my plans are just to keep. Now that I like know the timing and the cycle of the whole thing, I can just keep rotating in. Like the plan is to just have a constant crop of this stuff because I love
Sweet.
it. I love it
Yeah,
for
sounds like a
sure.
good plan to me.
Yeah, but
How many
and
are you gonna run it? You're just gonna like run two or one
yeah,
all the
just
time?
two, just maybe even one if I can get it big enough. But no, I
Are
got
you
two of
gonna
the
have a dedicated
autopots.
tent just for
Yep,
them?
yep,
The
yep, yep.
second time around too, you're gonna crush it. Like if you like the smoke this time, it's fucking game over. You're gonna like
Yeah,
because you remember like oh shit, week three it really started showing me some fucking signs of this or that, and whatever.
I
So
can
you'll be a
just
little bit more prepared.
dial in the whole tent for that one specific
Yeah.
plant. You know what
Plus,
I
clones
mean?
grow better than seedlings. They just do. It's a fact. And they don't have the
Yeah,
vigor. They don't have the vigor. They
but what
definitely don't have
more
the. They're just more
symmetry?
stable.
Stable.
Not quite as fussy. Way less likely to harm. Um, just it's an overall better experience in my
Well,
opinion.
I'm excited, man. I've never grown clones, and yeah, should be a cool experience.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I'll
wild.
report back. But in the meantime, like I said, we got this grow along happening. Everyone's posting their update pictures.
Oh my god, everybody's plants look so nice.
They do. We got some big ass fan leaves too. People are posting like
Dude,
dinner
those
plates.
Hubba Bubba leaves are
Dude,
ridiculous. I got mitts on me, man, and
it's,
they're fucking some big leaves, you know? Really?
they almost look like baseball mitts, like
Yeah.
that type of
Yeah.
enormity. But yeah, just it looks great. Everyone's doing a kick-ass job, but I don't think anyone. We might have a couple people that have just flipped or flipped in the last like week, 2 weeks tops, but I don't think anyone's like no one's posting flower pictures yet. Put it that way.
No, it's way too early for that.
Way
Fuck,
too
I
early,
still have seedlings.
Yeah, most people are
I'm so far
in
behind.
veg, yeah, early veg even.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
we got a span of ages. It's all looking good. Mine are well. They were in these 1 gallon pots since germination. Been a month, exactly 28 days since they sprouted. And I'm always looking because I didn't send away tests for sex testing, and I didn't take cuts to put them in a monster sex chamber or anything
Oh my
like
god.
that.
Completely to interrupt you. The sex tests that have come back for these plants in this
Oh
grow
my
along,
God, right?
it's like 14 out of 15 females. 10 out of 11
Unbelievable.
15 females. 5 out of 6 females. It's insane.
People are like, I don't even believe these results at first, but I mean, Joint himself told us. He told us
Yep.
they're
Super strong women.
the females for some reason outweigh the males in his genetics. I don't know how. Didn't think it would be like that though. Literally like 11 out of 12.
Yes.
Some people's crazy,
90% females.
right? Really cool. So I have this. I would think it's a pretty unique method for sexing, and I don't think I've seen anyone else do it, and it's always worked for me. Like I don't really, I don't know how to really explain it except to just explain it. It's to keep these plants a little root bound in smaller pots than they need for a month to maybe 5-6 weeks at the most. And you should be checking every day then after like, I don't know, day 25, right up in that crotch. You know what I mean? When I say the crotch of the plant, you know what I mean.
And no.
Yeah.
Like in between the stem. Here, I'll just show you. I'll bring up
It's
a
at
little.
the crux of the node.
The crux of the. What a great way to put it. The crux of the node. Here's what I'm dealing with, okay? Here's one of my plants. Up in that crotch. Fucking look at that crotch shot. It's almost vulgar looking. I mean, really, look at that. So look at this plant. And now you tell me, when you see this, like we can't see, we call these pre-flowers, I would think, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not much. It's just, and to be honest with you, I couldn't really see it with my naked eye. I had to like use the macro lens on my phone to zoom in on this area of the plant. And then it became obvious. You know what I mean? Like you can see what you're looking at. What's your guess on this, guys? What do you think?
Male.
100%. No question. I mean, it looks like balls.
Mm-hmm.
How much more do you need to see? Like it's balls on a plant.
Yeah.
So I put that one aside. We got a male to start. Boo. Here's my next.
Oh, pretty girl.
Right? you can see right in the rightmost, like the right crotch, right there, that little fuzzy hair sticking out. Now, I do want to point out too that we're not talking about these. I don't even know what I would call those two like protrusions from the stem itself.
Stipule.
Okay, great, thank you. We have a botanist. Stipules. That is not what we're looking for. Not at all. It's that
No.
little, like, even without that white hair in the picture, that shape, that like tapered, almost egg-like shape, very feminine. Very feminine to me. You know, like I would know just from seeing that before the white hair poked out, maybe a day or two before, you know, that's a female.
Mm-hmm. And those bracts sit like right down on the branch itself in that crux. And the balls have like almost like a little stem that they sit on top of.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's a lot easier to see the whole circumference of a ball versus the bract is kind of like slightly hidden at the bottom.
For sure. Again, we got a lovely girl here, obviously, you know. Beautiful when you see that white hair poking out. But again, I want to highlight the shape of that pre-flower. Okay? Same shape, very egg-like, as opposed to the first one, which I think looks like a claw. I always associate it with like almost or like a fist.
Mm-hmm.
A closed hand. All right, so the fourth one, very tricky. Little younger than the others, maybe a couple days. What's your guess?
I'd guess female, but it's a
I
little
guess
hard to tell.
female, but
I go male on this one. I put that one aside because I'm seeing it's not quite.
It's too early, dude.
Yeah, it's
That's
too early.
too early.
It's still in the tent. Too early. I said undetermined, but I'm leaning male.
I don't know. I mean, the tops of them look kind of crab clawy, but the overall shape is kind of egg-like.
Yeah, you're right. Overall shape, but it's not that same solid mass that we're talking about. But anyway, here's another.
I can't even see anything on that.
It's too dark.
I can't see shit on there.
Undetermined, right?
Yeah.
Or is
Yeah, there's nothing there.
yeah, that's too early. Yeah. Then we got the last one again, female.
That's definitely a girl.
So I had 6 plants. I think I have at most 2 males. It might be a 50-50 split, but you know, I took the ones that are obvious plus the one. Let me see. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there were 4 that were obvious females. I took those ones and I transplanted them the other day into those 9-gallon pots. And they are rocking and rolling now. So,
Nice.
yeah, exciting shit, man.
Give those girls some room to breathe.
Yep, new shoes. All girls love new shoes.
Especially ones that fit.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, so this is how I do my sexing using nothing but Riz on plants, right? You don't have to pay for sex tests. You don't have to. There's nothing involved. Literally, just leave them alone, and they will show you if you know how to look for it.
I particularly don't like this method for one reason and one reason only. The plants will stall hella after this. If you're showing sex in the pot, when after you transplant it, you should notice quite a bit of a stall in the plant.
So glad you mentioned that. Actually, there's a couple things that I like to do when I transplant. to avoid, like a post-transplant stall. And I'm sure you could guess what they are. Additives in my initial transplant watering. And I'm sure you could guess what it is, man. It's seaweed extract.
Get some
Awesome,
kelp.
awesome thing. Yeah, kelp.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
And all of the enzymes and stuff and growth hormones you can find. There's a lot of different products you can use. I use this one in particular from Cold War Organics, the same company that I get my bud bread from. It's called Transplantal Meditation.
Quite an elaborate name.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of clever. So
Their names are always clever. Like their bloom is called Coming of Age, and
yeah,
they have another one called like Angel's Touch. Yeah, their names
Yep.
are spectacular.
so the one it's like the blue color. If you look for that one, Transplantal Meditation, loaded with all this kelp, seaweed extract, and it's great. And it's great. I use it, and I don't see any slowdown. I mean, maybe it takes them a day or two to like figure out, like, oh, holy shit, we got new shoes, and then they start to party. They love it. But I don't know. Maybe I'm sure if you wait a little longer and keep them, it is about letting them. Like, I was on top of this day one. As soon as they popped that first pistol, you know what I mean? I was like, boom, transplant them right away. You don't want to let them sit there for too long afterwards.
Yeah, I'm sure that makes a big difference. Getting them right away.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I'm pumped. I got 4 females out of 6 plants, and gonna fill up a 5x5 now.
Yeah, I had 2 out of the 3 that I popped were female. I had plans on taking cuts and filling the tent full of cuts, but I'm, as Mike Tyson, once said, everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the mouth. And I just had a lot of shit going on lately. I'm like, and honestly, I just want that fucking Hubba Bubba Kush like in my lungs as soon as possible. I don't have the patience to play the long game here. It's time to transplant these bitches and just flip them. Call it a day.
How long are you gonna wait after you transplant them to flip?
Maybe a week or so.
Yeah. That was my mistake last time. Was the delay between the transplant and the flip. So I'm gonna condense that time frame now. I think a week's a perfect amount of time.
As long as they look good, because that's the most important thing. You don't want to flip the flower if your plants aren't healthy looking. Like if you're like, it's just not quite there.
Very true.
I promise you, just don't do it. I mean, it's just not worth it. Like, get them healthy first, and then, because I promise you, if you get deficiencies now in fucking veg,
don't layer stress on stress.
Yeah.
It's silly.
Yeah.
One stress at a time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad you mentioned that. A lot of people, for whatever reason, just they're like, it might be time constraints. They just like kind of rush into flower without
everybody's
addressing.
eager. It's not even time constraints most of the time. People are just eager, and I get that.
I want to see what. Yeah.
That's part of the reason I'm doing what I'm doing right now. I'm fucking eager. But I'm just gonna, make sure they're healthy first. That's all.
For sure. I always like to see them at their peak health before flip. Like if that should be when they're the most healthy, when their leaves are the most green, and you can take that health and it's like momentum that carries you like weeks and weeks into flower until you really like, the healthier they are before flower, the better they're going to produce for you. That's all I can tell you.
We're gardeners. Like, our hobby is taking care of plants. So take good care of your plants. Otherwise, you might as well just go buy weed from somebody else.
Well, I think that veg. You're so right, G3, but veg and that right before flower, I think, is an overlooked but super important part of the grow. Like, literally, your plants should be the most healthy that they are at any point in the grow. There should be the most amount of nutrients in that soil if you're organic. You know what I mean? Like, you
Mm-hmm.
should have been using, what do they call it? Top dressing. You should have been doing that the whole time. Kind of like thinking ahead.
Yep,
But
I
but
agree.
yeah, no, just use the momentum you have from the health of your plants before flower to carry you through. Always works.
So, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick is silica.
Mm.
Oh,
Um,
yes. Let's do that.
I see a lot of people using all these different types of silica, and we've talked about monosilicic acid before on the show, and good old Monster has said, I'm not sure if the juice is worth the squeeze. Well, I will tell you emphatically the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, I know where people's minds are going, oh, it just so happens that Autopod came up with one, so now you love it. Listen, I'm not telling you to go out and buy theirs because I would reckon to say that a good majority of the monosilicic acid out there is probably pretty similar. But unless you're, it'll tell you on your bottle, unless you're using monosilicic acid and you're paying for silica, I think you're wasting your money
It's
because
not plant available, right?
it's not, and it takes much longer to become plant available. I don't care what it says on the bottle, who it's from, whatever. It's all the same that way. Whatever you're putting in has to convert to monosilicic acid before it can be utilized. Just cut to the fucking chase. And now the counter to this is that I see a lot of people say, "Oh, it's fucking really expensive," and it is. But for instance, the stuff that I'm using from Autopot, you literally
Oh, you have
need
to.
a drop per gallon,
It's
and
zero
I'm
point 0.1
which
milliliters.
is about a
Yeah,
drop per gallon. Okay. And then obviously it's a higher ratio to foliar feed, which you should be doing as well in veg. So, like this little dinky bottle, I've barely dented.
yeah, yep.
And yeah,
It lasts a while.
it's like, I don't know how much it is. I mean, I got Autopot sent it to me to try. I will be buying more because I like it that much. Instant within a couple of days after using it, I noticed results in the plants, and uh, yeah, I'm sold on monosalicylic acid. I think it's the
Uh, I used mine too. When what's theirs called? They sent it to me too.
um
It's called Grow Genius, I think.
yes, yep.
And again, there's a bunch of different plants or a bunch of different types of this stuff. I'm not saying like go buy
I
theirs, but
I think the ones who first really like burst onto the scene was Power SI.
Yeah.
yes.
I mean,
All
I'm
right,
sure there
so
was somebody else before them doing it, but they were
wow,
the ones
yeah,
who like burst onto the
this
scene.
stuff is pricey. Wow, I ain't gonna
Yeah, it
lie.
is.
How
Gosh,
much
trying
is
to
that
power
little
SI
bottle?
is
So,
astronomically expensive.
How much is that little bottle?
how much would you guess
I
that
think it
little
was
bottle
around
is?
like 70, $80 or something.
Double that.
For how many mil?
Really?
Mm-hmm.
How
Yeah,
many
I'll
mils are in
still
the
buy
bottle?
it.
250 milliliters. So
All
again,
right,
Nick, you're
and you need
talking about
one
that's 2,500
gallon.
gallons you can dose with this plant available form of silica, which is I gotta say I used it. I saw an immediate result too. Like stems are bulky,
And it
beefy.
doesn't affect your pH.
Not at all. No, not at all. pH
And now
stable.
there are other forms of silica that will not affect your pH as well. Don't get it twisted. Unless it's monosilicic acid, it's not the same. And there are some other look. I've used a ton of silica products on the market, and I've noticed a difference in my plants. This takes a lot longer, and at the end of the day, you're not saving any money because the bottle you're getting is mostly water, or even
Yeah.
whatever.
Wow. Yeah. That I mean, it is pricey. I'll bring it up, but
I didn't even realize it was that expensive.
we're talking about like yeah, that's pricey. But again, this stuff lasts a long time. Yeah. Then you get that 500 milliliter. Yeah, wow, yeah. But still, you could use our code CC10, save 10%. This stuff is worth it, man. Honestly, I thought I was in the like I'm gonna use my rice hulls thing and let them break down into silica. Like I again, like we're talking immediate results. When I had my 6 plants in the 1 gallon pots, they were kind of flopping over. I let them stretch a little bit too much in the first like couple days. They were a little lanky, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then they were tipping. You know what I mean? I don't like that. And you're trying to like pack up the little base of soil around them and give the stems a little extra support. Prop them up with a popsicle stick or something.
Yep.
No, I gave them a little bit of water with zero point 0.1 milliliter. Like you said, it was a drop. And overnight, they all were standing up and looking like the stems were noticeably thicker.
Yeah. I think I must have said 100 times on this show that I was skeptical of monosilicic acid, and I wasn't gonna. It took somebody sending me a bottle for me to try it. I probably would have never took the squeeze myself, took the plunge myself to spend that kind of money on it. But look, it just works.
To be
Here's a
honest, man,
tip.
they should offer like an even smaller size container and lower the price for like, people who want to
Yeah,
get into this.
yeah.
Because,
Mhm.
juice is worth the squeeze. This is a product that's used across all of agriculture.
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Just about
silica,
any plant, I'm sure it could benefit.
yeah, yeah. Silica is one of those things that's kind of just like it's not a nutrient. Like it's not a necessary component of plant growth, but when it's in there, it just does so much to improve root growth, just overall vigor. But what you'll see immediately, I think, is the stem strength, right? So, I don't know. Yeah, shout out
Mhm.
to their new product and really any form of silica. I'm a believer now too, dude.
Yeah, good shit. I like it a lot.
So can we, like, if we just want to be patient and go about it the old-fashioned way, rice hulls, contain silica. Just use a bunch of microbes. It does eventually break down into silica. Like another thing I was thinking about doing too is adding just a couple scoops of sand into my soil base. You know what I mean?
There are people that do that anyway, as a way to try to mimic like natural soil.
Yeah.
I don't know if that would work or how effective it would be, but um, I
I
think I
feel
heard
like
on a podcast once from some like guy that rice hulls are ineffective form of silica unless you're reusing your soil, which you do. So, because
yeah,
generally speaking, let's say you layer rice hulls on there, like they're doing nothing for that plant.
yeah,
It's the next plant that's going to really benefit from, and so on. Because does take a long time to break down and to
agreed.
give you.
Now the real beauty of the rice hulls is when you start to use them like as your aeration too, and
Yeah,
your mulch, and then you reuse the soil and yeah, over time it takes the microbes have to do the work here. You're taking like a big molecule and you're trying to like break it down into the one. I don't know what the chemistry of monosilicic acid is, but it's a much smaller molecule, So you got to let the microbes work.
yep,
So yeah, obviously, if you're trying to do that, the more microbes, the better. The more life in the soil, the quicker it's gonna process all that kind of stuff. But in the meantime, go out and spend a paycheck on a bottle of silica.
If your paycheck's $160, I suggest that you do not.
Christmas is
Spending.
around the corner.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ask for it from Santa.
Santa.
Just go steal it from the grocery store.
Ah,
The
don't
old
do that.
5-finger
It
discount.
was a joke.
Dude, you know what?
Anybody that takes me,
Yeah.
listen, quick rant. Anybody that takes me literally and like gets offended by anything I say, go fuck yourself. I'm not even going to justify the person with the name. I had some hate mail in my Instagram lately about using the word retard. Listen, I actually have family members with Down syndrome, and I don't mean if you're offended by the word retard, then that's your fucking problem. Because nobody calls like I wouldn't refer to them as retards, dude. I like normal people to me that act retarded are fucking retards. Okay, so if you're offended by that term, I am sorry. I don't mean anything by it. Amen. I don't know what
I
else to
hear
tell
you,
you.
man. I hear you.
Like,
No,
don't
you're
come at me. Like, if you're gonna listen to the show and then like say that like you're offended by me, then don't fucking listen. I don't care. You know, like this is me. I am
we
who I
have to
am.
be ourselves.
I don't censor myself at all. I never will. I'm not going to be a different person on the fucking mic. That's just who I am. Go fuck yourself.
I could never ask you to change, man. You're just a misunderstood monster, you know?
Sometimes, you know, like and if somebody referred to, like I said, I have family members with Down syndrome. If somebody referred to them as a retard, then I'd be upset too. I ain't referring to people with Down syndrome as retards, and if you're offended by that, I'm sorry.
Remember that episode of South Park? I'm going to call it the South Park logic. The South Park episode contained bikers, the Harley Davidson riders. You know what I mean? And they were calling them. I don't even know if I can say it now. I feel so. I can't say it, but it's a word we used to say all the time growing up. Starts with an F. You know, there's a short version and a long version. You know, it was one of the best insults of the 90s. You can't say it anymore, but they were like, no, we don't mean it like that. What are you talking about? It's just people that act like this, that ride Harleys around town, like with their engines all loud and trying to
I just feel like
annoy
we've
people.
gone too far.
We're talking
with,
about
like,
gay people.
with like that censorship shit, man. Just like we have freedom of fucking speech, and nobody's forcing you to listen to this or watch that or fucking whatever. Like comedy too. Like people are getting like triggered by comedy. I'm like, it's comedy. Like, I don't know. I
There's
just
a
feel like
certain-
we're too soft as a society these days, man. Like, let people be whoever the fuck they want to be. Like, and just leave them alone. I don't give a fuck what you are, like, or what you do, or whatever. Like, I wouldn't tell you how to live your life, so don't tell me how to live mine. You know,
Days
live
were
and let
better
be.
when
let
people
be.
wouldn't get offended at that kind of stuff, and we could all just kind of laugh at our own.
I think
our
people
own-
look for reasons to get offended. Like, if they don't have some sort of outrage in their life, they're not fulfilled. Seriously.
There's some truth to that, man. Really, it's like first world problems, you know, like creating the drama because you have none, essentially.
Now let's bring it back full circle. That's why everybody should be growing weed.
Yeah, why to? So
I
you
think
can
I
feel
think
free
the
to
more
say words that have been banned since
no,
early 2000s.
I think if more people fucking took a hit off a fucking joint every now and then, and got their fucking balls out of their wife's purse and just lived a little bit, just stop trying to.
It's about not taking yourself or anything that seriously, for that matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a certain ethos to that. You're right. And
Yeah.
most people that partake to the level that we do, I feel like it does. You can't deny that cannabis does have a certain effect on your psyche and your mind. And it does, to a certain extent, like expand your mind, like as they used to say in the 60s.
Enlightenment.
And it just kind of makes you impervious to feeling like all high and mighty and offended like normal people seem to get. Like, I just like laugh at a situation. I'm like, I can't take that seriously to really like
Be
get on
offended.
a high horse about it or feel any sort of, you know, strong emotions just to like vent, just I don't know. It's
It changes your perspective a little bit, I think.
I think it's a little bit of enlightenment and also maybe a little bit less likely to like put up with bullshit.
Yeah, it
that's
makes me a
definitely
better
it.
person and a way better parent. Like, if I'm high, things are just not that serious.
Yeah. I think it puts a lot of things into perspective. And
I
there's
have. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just like, there's pros and cons to it. You know what I mean? You have to take the good with the bad. Like it can be a demotivating agent for a lot of people, and like makes you be like content with being bored, that kind of thing. But at the same time, like a lot of people need to just chill the fuck out and be content
Yeah.
with being bored sometimes. Like
I
it's a good thing.
I don't buy that logic. Like, right? Like, oh, like little Johnny fucking ruined his life. Smoking dope, and now he's a lazy piece of shit. Right? Like, Johnny would have been a lazy piece of shit whether he discovered marijuana or not.
That's true.
Some people are just like that. They just don't want to do anything in life and they have no ambitions and goals. They're content just being content, right? And I think it has nothing to do with cannabis, honestly. Because I mean, if it did, like, dude, it's all I do is work. So like, and I smoke a ton of weed, and I work, and I get shit done, and I do like some pretty crazy shit, like some precision machining shit, like plus or minus a tenth of a thousandth of an inch. That's like taking the hair on your head and splitting it the long way 30 times, if you can even fathom that.
Mm.
So, and I consume cannabis and my brain's not rotted. So, I mean,
Right strain for the right effect at the right time. Like,
you
if
know,
you're smoking super high myrcene stuff all the time, you're going to be sleepy. You're not going to get as much done. But if
yeah,
you throw in something else, a strain that makes you get up and go, or think better, or focus, or whatever, you can use cannabis to your benefit in every facet of your life. You need to chill at night. Okay, there's a strain for that. You need to focus during the day. There's a strain for that. You need to be a little more social. There's a strain for that. Find what works for you.
and look, don't get it twisted. You can be over medicated, right? And
Oh, yeah.
but
No such thing. At least with cannabis.
good night, Hank. You sick son of a bitch.
Love you, Hank. But yeah, no, it's just I do feel like it changes your outlook on things, and for the better in most cases. Most of the coolest people I've ever met have smoked a lot of weed. Just kind of comes with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, our community is killer.
Yeah, got the coolest people.
Seriously, such talented, amazing, brilliant, funny, just awesome people. Good
we all
human beings.
we also got people in our community that just grow the plant because they love doing it. Some of them don't even smoke.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You
a
know?
lot more than you'd think. I mean, just off the top of my head, I mean, Strong Island.
Yeah, he's the first person that came to mind. That
Yeah,
sick son of a bitch. I know he's
yeah.
listening to this
There's
eventually.
there's an older grower. I know we love you, Strong. An older grower. Man, I can't. His Rich Firen, I think, Firen on Instagram, and he actually sent me some amazing hot sauce. Man, this guy grows hot peppers and awesome gardener, right? He doesn't use anything. He's been sober for 30 something years,
Hmm.
and he is one of the most like up and coming organic gardeners that you could find on Instagram. The guy has fucking raised beds in his tent, two huge tents just scrogged out with these massive buds. He's growing like orange glue, I think is one of the strains.
Okay.
Always posting these amazing pictures. So
Yeah, we had
check him
Main
out.
Girl Grows on, and I don't even remember what episode that was, but she's amazing and she's a brilliant grower and she
Yeah.
doesn't consume.
There you go. I remember that. It shocked me
Mhm.
when we found that out.
Yep. She grows for her community.
I don't even remember that part.
She
I
gives
must
it
have
away
been.
to like all the vets and stuff, you know.
I must
Hmm.
have been stoned.
Yep. She has a whole bunch of people who rely on
Feeds it
her
to the
for their
wolves.
medicine, and she takes care of them.
Yeah.
It's fucking rad.
It's great. Yeah, we just have the best, nicest, most compassionate people. Kind of comes with it, you know. Opens your mind and your heart in a little bit, you know. You want to make love, not war, when you smoke the weed.
I agree.
Hmm.
But yeah, guys, I don't know. We didn't really have. I think we're out of terps, right? Like we can't.
No, I got one. We
Oh,
are
we
going to do
do.
eucalyptol tonight.
Thank God.
We have a couple more, just a
All right,
couple,
cool.
not many, but a couple. So we're going to do eucalyptol tonight. Can you
Awesome.
guess what eucalyptol smells like?
Eucalyptus.
Like minty
Congratulations.
menthol?
Yes. So eucalyptol is also called cineol. Um, it is a monoterpenoid, so a lot like limonene and linalool. It has that C10H18O formula. So this smells exactly what it sounds like eucalyptus. It's found a lot in cannabis and bay leaves, eucalyptus trees. In cannabis strains itself, you can find it in headband, Girl Scout cookies, super silver haze, anything that has like mint, peppermint, things like that in the name. Generally, if they have that minty smell to them, they can have some eucalyptol in there as well. It's also used in so much in like general consumer products like mouthwash or gum or cough suppressants. Used a lot in all of those. It's actually used a lot in cough suppressants because it can help with that area. We're going to run into that right now. So this helps a lot with your sinuses and mucus production. So it kind of regulates it, brings it back to center. So if you're making too much mucus, it'll draw it back. If you're making not enough mucus and it's a little dry, it can help produce a little bit more. So it's really helpful if dealing with colds and asthma, where mucus production in your sinuses and in your throat can be a problem. It's
like
very
Vicks
minty.
Vapor Rub.
Yep. They've done a bunch of studies on this, studying sinus pressure. It can release sinus pressure overall, can be really helpful, like I said, with all that, but can also help with cognitive function, which is interesting. I wouldn't have expected this. People with degenerative Alzheimer's take these tests that kind of measure the degeneration of their mind over time. And eucalyptol, when tested, can actually stop and then increase their scores. So not only does it stop it, but it can reverse some of the damage. And there's also some studies that can indicate it can help with blood pressure. They studied people with knee replacements, and they studied people who were taking eucalyptol versus a placebo, and the eucalyptol helped to regulate their blood pressure and when dealing with pain. So this is, I mean, just like all of the other ones, it's antibacterial, antifungal, anti-pain, anti-inflammatory, all of the wonderful things that the terps do, but that can also help with that mucus production, and it can help open your airways as well. It's a little bit of bronchodilator. Not as much as like pinene is, but it is a bronchodilator. So all good stuff. Eucalyptol.
Yeah.
You need something, you got a cold, take a cough drop and smoke something minty.
Well, it's when you see. I didn't realize it, but I guess I should have. I mean, a lot of cough drops and medicines you see like that often promote eucalyptus. So, interesting.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's
they
that
just-
terpene in there.
That like, yeah, it opens your airways. I mean, it's like I said, that Vicks Vapor Rub. You just inhale it and it clears everything out. Might
That's
seem
just amazing.
counterintuitive, but like if you can find that in a smoke, I mean, that's crazy.
Could be helpful. Yeah, I mean, the entire point of cannabis and it dealing with your endocannabinoid system and interacting with your receptors is to bring you back to balance, bring you back into homeostasis, bring you back into center where you're not dealing with pain that's throwing you one way, or too much mucus that's throwing you another, or degenerative neuropathy, that's taking you away. It wants to bring you back into balance. That's the entire point of the cannabinoid system. So whatever thing is throwing you out of balance, there's a terpene to help with that. There's a strain to help with that.
Word. I love it. What was it called? Eucalyptol
or cineol.
Okay.
That's probably one of the easiest ones to remember, at least for me, anyways, because it's like it sounds so much like eucalyptus.
Yeah, you're going to be happy about next week then too, because we're going to talk about geraniol. Can you guess what geraniol is in?
I like geranium oil. It's a good.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. There you go.
Oh yeah, and before we go, I want to give a big FU to Elton John.
Why is that?
I want to say you don't know the first thing about cannabis. You were too fucking stoned off coke all through the 70s and 80s, and your music is mid. So
I wouldn't go that far.
I mean, I'll get a couple songs. Yellow Brick Road, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, I'll take it. But like, most of his catalog is just kind of overrated.
This cannabis is a gateway drug nonsense.
Yeah, come
cannabis
on, man.
Is a gateway to
Elton John says U.S. marijuana, legalizing marijuana is one of the greatest mistakes ever.
He said that?
That's what he said.
He did.
Yeah. Go fuck yourself.
That's what I'm saying.
He's getting his karma because he's going blind. So
he's just angry. He's angry at the world.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Calm down, Elton.
Yep.
I can only see net good from.
I can look past that and say that I don't believe his music was mid. I'm not a big fan, but guy was pretty good musician. I would say anything he's creating these days
hate on him a little.
Anything he's creating these days is mid at best. Pretty much like all the people of his genre. Like name these, like, dude, Deep Purple just came out with a new album.
Really?
Yeah. No, and I actually listened to it. It's actually not terrible, but it's just like generic. Like it sounds like B-sides from shit they should have put on their albums years ago. You know what I mean? Like I haven't been impressed. Stones, like Ozzy, like all these guys, they're putting out new music and it's fucking terrible. Just stop.
Yeah, just you guys can just survive on your back catalog. No one cares about your new stuff. Just keep playing the hits, man.
And some of them can still tour pretty well. The Stones are terrible this time around here, but so like, cool. But fuck you.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty shitty take. Just like, I don't know.
Yeah. Like, dude,
he's like, I preferred cocaine anyway. I was just stoned out of my mind all through the 70s, doing blow off strippers' asses and God knows what else.
He's got to realize that that's like the minority.
I can't see. Like he says that the exact quote is, I maintain that it's addictive. It leads to other drugs. And when you're stoned, and I've been stoned, you don't think normally. Legalizing marijuana in America and Canada is one of the greatest mistakes of all time.
Okay.
I found that it gets people off of other drugs.
Yeah. I mean, the term California sober didn't fucking just make itself up. Like, marijuana maintenance program, call it what you want. I know plenty of people that are fucking doing just fine smoking weed, including myself, that don't partake in other drugs. I don't even drink. So like, fuck you, Elton John. Once again, if I'll say it again, fuck you, Elton John.
So, but can we ask honest? Like, can we be honest about it though? Like, is it addictive?
I would say so.
Yes. Yeah,
I would agree. Like, I mean,
I had an argument with Google AI.
Mildly addictive, maybe just psychologically addictive, but it is.
I don't know if you're missing insulin. Is insulin addictive? if it's something your body needs to function properly, can you consider that addictive? We have an endocannabinoid system for a reason, right? We're supposed to be functioning with this plant. So needing the plant to function, is that addiction? I mean, yeah,
A
kind
little
of.
bit.
You can go through
Well,
withdrawal if you don't use it.
just take to take
But
words to take to steal the words from you. I don't know if you can go that far because it's like if you quit smoking weed, you're not gonna die. If you quit
true.
taking insulin, you
Well,
need it, you will die.
yeah,
That's
but like
true.
if I quit smoking weed,
Somebody
I
else
would
might
go
die.
through a little bit of a withdrawal process.
Mhm.
Yes, some other
Yes.
people might be in danger of dying for sure. But like, yeah, like I can't eat for a couple days. I can't sleep until like your body figures out like it's new normal. Like, and of course I use a lot. I would say I use more than 99.9% of other people out there. So like, yeah, of course, if I
That's
like went
fair.
cold turkey, I would fucking feel it, you know? But
Mhm.
I'm not gonna like sit here and kid myself and try to pretend like oh it's not addictive. I mean it is. I'm not gonna like I would never advocate for like kids to start smoking
Oh
weed
God,
early
no.
in school. Like I mean there definitely should be a 21-year-old like age limit
I
on it
actually
like
think
alcohol.
23 is
It should be yeah
ideal
maybe even
because
25
that's when the brain is stopped growing, developing.
for sure.
So that's when your system is robust and ready and it can help. But when your brain is still growing, it can be harmful.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I could
Agreed. You
agree with
know,
that.
I mean, I think you know there is some truth to what he said in just that like I think that the cannabis community sometimes because there was such a stigma against this plant that shouldn't have been there for so many years that it was like blanket just illegal everywhere, you know, like and everyone just wanted to like shine a light on it like no it's not that bad, it's not addictive. But when we said that, we kind of meant like it's not addictive like heroin is, you know, it's not going to fuck you up like that. But it's somewhat addictive, you know. It's just, we swung the pendulum back a little too far, where some people were just like saying, like, the plant's harmless when it's not,
Yeah.
No, I
is
agree
kind
with
of my
that.
point.
And and look, as somebody who smokes all the time too, another thing I have a beef with is just people like smoking in public, like places where you really shouldn't be. Like you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
crack a beer in the same setting, right? And drink a beer because you'll get arrested. But yet you feel open enough to like smoke a joint like on the fucking train or something like that when I'm with my son,
Mm-hmm.
doing something like, and that's like, you know, like there's a time and place for that. Like my kid knows I consume cannabis, like, but like I don't bring him places where fucking people are like blowing smoke in his face. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a level of responsibility that comes with it. Inherent
Yeah,
responsibility
yeah.
when you're
So like,
dealing with a psychoactive substance.
yeah, So
For sure. And I think you got to be a little respectful of other people too, and
that's
like
all.
a social like a social setting. If you're outside, if you're really anywhere near other people, like some people are bothered by the smell. Some people don't like it. It is what it is, you know. Like be respectful of that, and
Yeah,
don't.
just like anything else. That's all. Don't
Yeah,
don't take it the other way too, because then the other side of that coin is if you start acting like too much of a dick, that's when you start getting
Oh yeah,
restricted,
don't be a
right?
yeah,
sloppy stoner.
A few
for
bad
sure,
apples ruin it for everybody else, like
absolutely. Then yeah, then, I mean, agreed. Yeah, I think we can all agree on these basic kind of tenets here, and again, it's just like this plant's not harmless either. Like it in the wrong hands, if someone gets into it like too soon, or really like I don't know, like
Right,
the
if you're
wrong
using it
person using
inappropriately,
it,
if you're
it can
there's all
induce
sorts of ways.
schizophrenia and stuff like that. Early onset schizophrenia and some people, like
Mhm.
that's a real thing. Just if
Yeah.
you were probably a little crazy to begin with, but it just kind of intensified and like brought it on a little quicker.
yeah,
Just
yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I actually know a schizophrenic who's not in my life anymore, but yeah, weed made him worse. 100%.
Mhm.
You just, like, and it, yeah, I mean, just you'll know it, I guess, if you're that kind of person. Maybe not, maybe not.
Right. In the words of
Voices
the
will tell you
Reverend
to keep
Pirate Frog,
smoking.
don't be a dick.
There you go. Hey, fucking.
Don't be a dick. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's, I think Elton John just, again, doesn't know what he's talking about. He just loves cocaine. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. Probably not so much anymore, but I mean, who knows?
He means the greatest mistake was not legalizing cocaine. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think we got much else tonight. I do want to, real quick, give a shout out to Joe Grohio.
Pretty
Thank
cool
you
name.
for becoming a
What a good
Patreon.
name.
That is a
Thank
pretty
you,
cool name.
Joe.
Joe Grohio. Yeah, I like that a lot. Thank you to Dax N.
Thanks,
Signed up.
Dax.
And thank you to Charles Arms.
Thanks, Charles.
There you go.
Thank you, Charles.
We love you. We love and appreciate all of our Patreons so very much.
We do. We do. Yeah, we got 69 of you guys. That's crazy. 69 dudes.
Chap said 69.
Oh, it just reminds me too. It's like, of course, an hour and 17 minutes into the show. I do want to talk about my new controller 69 Pro. I got another one, and I got a bunch of equipment for Black Friday, which is all set up now. But that can be a cliffhanger for next week.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. My Thermoforge came, so we can talk about those.
Thermoforge is pumping heat into that tent. First impressions, gotta say, very solid. Love the build on the thing. Like that tube G3, that like flexi tube, you know what I'm talking about? Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It feels like nice quality, like most of
does.
ACI stuff. So we're going to put them to the test. We'll let you guys know.
Yep. Another week and give me better, more accurate readings for my review on next show.
Until then.
And of course, the most important part, if you don't do anything else between now and then, please just don't get caught.